What's up, Brett?
How we doing? Sorry, I was a little late. Had a young man that was a little more priority than you guys, all right? But as important as you are. But when we do opener?
Yeah.
Very excited, obviously. Got news that we were going to be going to 100%. So to announce that today, just couldn't be more excited. I think there's obviously a million reasons why things happen in this world, but to first have Josh talk to me, when I began our discussions with him about coming here, about our first game was going to be in Ireland, and then to have that transition out and to have the game remain here at week 0 in Champaign after the year that we just had in the world of college football. So unlike any, right, unprecedented, right? Games canceled, season started, certain stopped, certain started, games canceled during the year. To have the chance for the opening kickoff of college football to be here in Champaign. No one else in the entire world of college football has that opportunity. I knew it was going to be something we wanted to capitalize and maximize. I was told that 70% of the tickets sold today were for the opener at week 0. So season tickets are I think the highest they've been, our second highest in a decade, best in 6 years, whatever it is. Just couldn't be more excited about the opportunity for us as a football program, but more importantly for our fans. I've said from day one, we have to represent our fan base, right? So we're here in Champaign, Urbana. We have kids from all over the country, but just to even see their social media today, to see the way they reacted and talked about having fans in the stands, it's just really an exciting time. I can't promise or guarantee where it's going to go. I just know it's going to be good. And I'd love to have everybody there as best we can and get a chance for your season tickets as quick as you can while they're here. So I couldn't be more pumped for where we're at. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Am I first?
Anybody go?
Okay. Sorry. Hey, Brett, Scott Beatty here from WDWS. Is there anything you would like as a coach to help establish tradition-wise when it comes to the fan experience? I know you've got a whole arm of people that work on that, but is there any kind of Bret Bielema flavor you want to see, or something with game day experience and fans that you want to see happen?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that are in the works that I can't really discuss. I'm not even going to share them with our team until the appropriate time, from uniforms to kind of just the way we're going to play. I've obviously said a lot about certain philosophy or thoughts, but bottom line, I always tell our players, game days are about the game, right? They don't come to watch coaches coach. They don't come to watch refs ref or officiate a game. People come to watch players play. And the way we play the game, I think, will excite people. I think we're going to be a tough, smart, dependable team that, is able to put points on the board, but also keep points off the board. I think special teams will be an exciting phase for us. We'll feature 2 unique kickers, right? I mean, obviously it's a competition, but right now between Blake and James, like 2 kickers that were 2 specialists that were born in foreign soil, right? One born in Australia, one born in Ireland. That's just so unique. I mean, how many people? It might be the best international tandem of kickers in the history of college football, and it's pretty cool to have them there. So I'm an old marketing major, right? So I kind of always think about things like that. I think Grange Grove, just walking through there with our recruits and seeing pictures and listening to Cassie and her staff talk about what Grange Grove can be. The tailgate experience for the fan base before the game and hopefully a lot afterwards. I think we'll add a lot. I've had several meetings with the university administration just about things we can do to enhance and promote the games from 4-pack of family. Like the first time I heard that, I'm from a family right now where there's 4 of us, right? So I know I'm purchasing a number of those packets to give away from my own personal money that for my wife and I, we have 2 kids at home. Not everybody can afford the same options to give a 4-game ticket or 4 game tickets in a package deal to a family. To me is awesome. It's exactly what I have. I got 2 beautiful girls that if I wasn't a head coach at Illinois, I'd love to bring them to a game, right? So I kind of represent exactly what we're talking about. But I appreciate the question, but I think the best thing I can do for season ticket sales is win, right? If we fill that stadium up and have season ticket holders, that makes our athletic department run that more efficiently. It alleviates a lot of problems, not just for football, but other sports. And I don't take that lightly. It's something that is very important to me as a head football coach.
If it's all right, I have another football related question, but not on the fan return.
That's all right.
The topic of the week obviously is the expansion of the football playoff, possibly to 12 teams. Your thoughts on that, on more access? 12, is it a number you like, the format, all that chatter?
You know what, Scott, I appreciate the question. Obviously, I've never been in the college football playoffs, and neither has Illinois, right? So I tend to say this, right? You heard me say it about COVID. You heard me talk about practices in fall. Like, all I want you to do is tell me the rules and I can play by it. My intention and goal is to get us into the college football playoffs. However it transcends, however the format lays out between now and that opportunity comes, I'm thankful for it, but I'm worrying more about the things I have to do to get Illinois better tomorrow, right? If I start, it'll be a byproduct, right, of what we are. Like, next year we have 12 games. Like, I tell our kids all the time, if we think we're going to beat Nebraska in the 7 days of preparation before that game, or once we move to the second game and the third game and the fourth game, we can't beat them in the 7 days we're allotted. We got to beat them 365 days out of the year, right? We got to do things better on a daily basis than our opponents. And that's just kind of how I'm wired. So I'm excited for the college football playoff. It's an excitement in college football that's unprecedented. The fact that they open it up to more teams will allow more teams to get there, and that's a blessing. But really don't have any strong feelings one way or the other.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yep.
Hey, Bret, how you doing?
Good, Joey.
Hey, so I think you've been a part of Memorial Stadium at capacity twice, once as a player, once as a coach. Obviously, in those two, you didn't get a chance to do more beyond play the game or coach the game. But what do you imagine this is going to be like, kind of combining those experiences as what you've experienced over the course of the last 6 months?
Well, I know coming in here as a player, I remember hearing my coach talk about the atmosphere that was going to be here from the time our buses rolled through till the time we had kickoff, till the time we left. I think the instant you're talking about, it did go well for the visiting team. It didn't go well for the home team, but it's obviously a different path I'm on now. I know how electric this place could be. You know, even though it wasn't, obviously the spring game was, tickets, but they weren't being sold, but it was, people wanted a game. And when it made something, a statement to me when they were sold out in less than an hour, whatever it was, X number of minutes, even though it was just 8,000, I know where our season ticket numbers are at. And if we can have that type of excitement now moving forward, I think we'll be in a good place. Obviously to kick off the football season against Nebraska, a conference opponent, so I've given our guys the stats, the last 5 years, the Big Ten West has been won by either Wisconsin or Northwestern, and their record at home during those championship years was really, really special. So we open up at home against a divisional opponent. So that's a very, very big game. They all are, but to open up at home against a Big Ten West opponent, that needs to mean something for us. So it's a constant education to our guys. And the best way we can have an advantage here at Memorial Stadium is to have a packed house. I get people all the time, hey, Bret, what can we do? Every Zoom call I've been on, every group I've met with, what can we do? You know how you can get in the stands, right? And then we can help that by giving you something when you're sitting in the stands you're happy to see. All right. So I think it's a little bit of a combined effort of Illinois football players and programs and coaches and the fan base.
Thank you, Bret.
Yep.
Coach, I'm curious about the weather. You had noon kickoff, August, average high that day is 85. Does that concern you at all? I know you had talked about maybe wanting a night game and such. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we wanted the best time slot we could have. And I think to be able to kick this whole thing off is you couldn't ask for anything better. The great thing about, kickoff at noon is both teams play in it. Obviously, they'll have their plan in their program about how they get ready, as a head coach that's been in this league. My first year that we went 12-1, I believe every game I played that year was at 11 o'clock. From the first game to the last game, the bowl game against Auburn that we won. Or against Arkansas that we won. I think the early kickoffs is a little bit unique, not only because of the temperature and the sun, but also just the element of an early game, right? A couple weeks later, we play a 10 o'clock kickoff at Virginia, right? So these early kickoffs are unique opportunities. with that, they have their own set of circumstances you got to work around. But I think we'll be ready to play if it's 75, 85, or 95.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Bret, good seeing you again.
Good to see
Just
you.
kind of piggybacking off one of the questions with the game day experience. I know students are something that you're really trying to connect with a lot of the stuff you've been doing. Do you have any plans specific for Block I and ways to interact with them?
I again, I just follow the path of what we're given, but I know our marketing department and myself and also our players, we've had meetings about anything we can do to build and connect with the student section, right? So it's not overstating the obvious that as a student athlete, you relate best to the students that you're in class with, that you're on campus with, that you live next to. And because of COVID last year, I know that put a little bit of a wrinkle in it, but there's definitely some not preseason, but fall camp activities, not just with our own student body, but also the freshmen that arrived, try to start some new traditions, some new thoughts, but also like you're saying, the Block I was something that was very significant that I learned about when I came here and have been learning about ever since. So it's a way to try to draw that student body into the stadium. I think it's an age-old process that everybody goes through with early kickoffs, right? Early kickoffs usually mean they impede a college student sleep time. Their behavior the night before greatly affects their results of the next day. So we'll have to have an evolution of education, but also excitement to get them in the crowd the right way.
You've been at Big Ten schools in the past with a lot of passion in their student section. How much did that really help you when you were at Wisconsin, just knowing that you were going to have a packed student section for your team to come out to on a weekly basis?
It's huge, right? We actually, in other universities I've been involved with, we maybe come up with a symbol or something that recognized an immediate connection to the student section of that stadium, right? And there's some things in motion here to make that happen. And we take suggestions as well. Obviously, the student section, if it means something to them, it's going to mean something to us. But our players are it's probably been one of the more, not surprising, but just kind of makes me take notice the way our players have reacted and responded to, interaction with the students that are here on campus. Not only, the maybe traditional student alumni base that has always been there, but, we can connect in today's world. I think if we can connect with the foreign student, we have a huge foreign student population here, right on campus, a very specific and unique market that maybe hasn't been capitalized. So we'll be involved in events to try to work with them hand in hand, as they move into the University of Illinois and ways to connect with them, right? I have three things we always preach to our kids, right? Every day, right? Do what's right, respect everyone, and be the best you. And part of that second phase, respect everyone, I think as men, and I got 120 of them, right? And it's growing on a daily basis. The more we can, react and interact with people that don't look like us or don't talk like us, or maybe haven't come from the same background, the same religion, the same history, the more we can connect as one and see how we're more alike than how we are apart. If we make Champaign or Urbana just a little bit better, we made the world better in the big picture. So that's kind of what our mission is.
Thanks, Bret. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, Bret, hope you're well. You became a head coach during a pandemic, hopefully once in a lifetime, with all these restrictions and rules. And this is obviously a sign that we're coming out of that. So it seems like some of those rules actually might have had a silver lining, whether it's super seniors or in-state recruiting being delayed a little bit, but also you weren't able to get on the road. So I'm just wondering, 6 months later, after all these restrictions and starting to lift, how do you feel like you and your staff came out of all this?
Jeremy, I appreciate the question and the facts that you pointed out. I really don't know until we get through a season, right? As a head coach, everybody's excited. Hopefully season tickets and ticket sales will reflect that, but we haven't won a game yet. So I think until we start putting the proof on the field, that's when the true results will happen. I am excited about some of the things we proactively did in the recruiting world. I know as a staff, to not be on the road recruiting in January really allowed me to stay stationary here in Champaign. I was literally either here in my office or in my hotel room, meeting or visiting or planning coaches as they came through our facility. I worked at one position at a time. You guys got to meet them one day at a time and kind of gave an exposure to them that was probably unprecedented than what they've done in the past. In recruiting, because of the super seniors, we now have, with the addition of Mike Epstein, obviously that's 22 super seniors that leads the nation. We're leading it at 21. Obviously goes to 22 now, but can't lose sight of the fact that now there's a group of seniors that are sharing that same spotlight. I make a big deal about seniors, right? In our team meeting room, you guys are going to come in next Thursday and be a part of a kind of a mini recruiting weekend. Some of you will have to run the 40, I'll have you know, right? But like we're gonna take you into team meeting room, right? Or show you the team meeting room. In our meeting room, the freshmen sit in the back, the sophomores, juniors, and you work your way to the front of the room. You earn your way to the front. Like in life, if you're just given things, it usually doesn't mean as much. If you're just handed to them, if it's a gift, it doesn't mean as much as if you earn it, right? And so in our team meeting room, we talk about earning your way to the front of the room. It was one of the first thing I did is put in a seating chart that basically laid the seating chart out in a process to earn your way to the front of the room. And today was my first team meeting with my incoming freshmen with the group of players I had this spring. So it was the first time they all came together. And the first thing we started with was the seating chart that explained that and talked about it. And that's a big part of our experience. So super seniors won, Jeremy. I think the recruiting world, we were the first ones to send out official visit invites in the entire country. There was 120 plus other Division I programs. Nobody else did it or thought of it or made it happen. We did, and we had 16 guys visit last weekend. That was off the charts, right? A great weekend for us to start with. So that would have never came without that first reaction. Now they got to come here and become good players, but that's the wheel is in motion, right? And then some grad transfers, some transfers that were allowed to come in because of one-time transfer rule were aided by the COVID as well. So there's a lot of little things that probably no one ever thinks about that I've taken notice of for sure.
I hate to ask the second question, Bret, but Mike Epstein, you said he's back. What's that mean for you guys to have him back?
Well, we've obviously when I was hired, I went and watched Penn State and Illinois play that night. That next day, I walked into a team meeting room with that entire group, right, of men that were at that trip and some that were here on campus. And I told that team meeting, I said, listen, today I'm standing in front of you as the newest member of this family, right? I'm coming to you. You didn't know I was coming. You had no idea I was going to be here. Josh hired me, and here I am today, walking in as the newest family member at the front of the room. I can tell you this. I told every one of them, no matter who's in this room, I'm not going to watch any film. I'm not going to decide who can play or who can't play, who might help us, who might not help us. But if you're in this room right now, I want to give you the opportunity to come back. And that's never been done in college football, right? I could never ask a group of seniors to come back after their final game. So it was really rare. And it's something I think started the tone of what we have today. I know you guys see the word family all over our media, social media. I didn't come up with Travis Perry, our graphics person, came up with that family phrase with the two L's in the middle. That wasn't something, but Travis sat in a bunch of staff meetings where he heard me just continually talk about the word family. And that's when he said, Coach, I just want you to know that, like, I heard you talk about family, and that's what made me design that or come up with it. And, now I'm trying to figure out a way for him to get reimbursed for it because everybody's using it. But like, I think it's a great way of representing, that group. And Mike was part of that group, right? I mean, I didn't think he was coming back. January, February, March, I was told because of his situation, injury-wise, he wouldn't be back with us. He went and had a surgery, did what he had to, and I told him if he wanted to come back, he would start at the back of the depth chart like every other person coming in. He wasn't with us in the spring. So to me, he's like even though he's been here and been a part of what his career has been, I told him coming in, he was going to be, at the same level as every incoming freshman or transfer player. There's, a number of running backs in spring ball that did a lot of really good things. He'll start behind them. He's got to go through a certain protocol to get on the field with the medical people first. But couldn't be more excited. He's a tremendous person from a great high school program that I knew very well. I told about him to the team, and everything's been a great situation so far. But obviously, I haven't been able to work with him at all yet.
Thanks, Bret.
Yeah.
Hey, Bret. Just Kevin Prince here. I guess congratulations. I guess with the new COVID protocol, but. Here's my question. What happens if a player, or did the Big Ten come up with something, or the university, if a player comes down with COVID? I mean, what's going to be the protocol with that, I guess? And second part of, do you guys kind of ask the players to get vaccinated? What's the procedure with that?
Great question, Kendrick. So we're kind of in the process, as even though announcements came today, right? We knew June 11th was coming for a while. That's changed certain protocols, but obviously, the central issue of COVID itself is a huge concern to us. We test here according to our protocols. That's modified a little bit since I've been here, but our guys still go through that. Our vaccinated players are in a little different protocol than our vaccinated ones. I let the medical people, give us the answers to that, kind of similar to the question earlier about the college football playoffs. I know it's two totally different things, but for me as a head coach, I just learned how to handle the moment. In COVID, I treat the same way as a college football playoff. Just tell me the rules and I will play by the rules, right? That's an easy way to do it. So we've made our guys aware of it. I believe that we have, a pretty significant amount. I know the number, I don't know if I'm privy to release it, but we have a pretty significant number of our guys that are vaccinated, and that kind of helps in really tracing. Obviously it helps in the prevention or the obviously the eventual, disease itself, but it does help dramatically in our tracing. And I believe we have 100% of our staff that's been vaccinated, which is a big deal as well.
Hey, Brett, James Boyd with the Herald Review. I wanted to ask about the name, image, and likeness, and just having fans be able to come back to games, see players up close and personal. How much do you think that'll help as you all make that transition into this, I guess, new era of college athletics?
James, it's a huge topic, right? In every aspect, not only my current roster, but future roster, right? It's going to come into effect in recruiting, the fan base, social media people. I give a lot of credit to the University of Illinois. Josh has been on the forefront of this since I got here. It was funny. I've seen a couple Big Ten institutions bragging themselves and patting themselves on the back about Open Doors, which is one of the made players. And we had this into effect months ago, way ahead of everybody else. So I give a lot of credit to the University of Illinois Athletic Department, having that set up before we even got to this point. Josh, I know, was involved as well with, obviously the government and people making this whole thing happen. But we're just kind of educating our guys on when and if this comes up, which is not a question of when or if, it's just when the rules come down. I think what we've kind of taught our guys is, people like to surround themselves with winners, right? People like to surround themselves with people that are thought of in a positive light. And for us to do that, we got to win football games. They got to take care of their social media accounts. They got to put their best foot forward. And we've had a couple marketing their thoughts, ideas with these guys about how they can handle not only their Champaign, life, but also where they're from. We have a lot of kids, for Illinois to be successful, we got to be successful in the surrounding communities, so a kid from, Gibson City, a guy that, we have a couple kids that are locally, right? So anybody that's around in this community that is on our current roster, how they can relate back to the community that they're from. We just had Kendrick Green coming from Peoria, right? How great a thing is that? I read about Io and what he's able to do now, now he's done, right? But what he's been able to endorse in his market and what it could have possibly been during his career here is a game changer. So for us to have an Illinois kid come play at Illinois now more than ever, that's like a huge, huge feather in our cap to be able to promote what an Illinois player can stay at home and do in his home state. That's a big advantage for us in recruiting. Yep.
Coach, you played at a place that's intimidating. You coached at a place that's intimidating. How much would that mean to get that here? To be like you were to Iowa or Wisconsin with the fans there and how the love there?
Well, I think it's obviously just, being able to play the environment you're in. I think Memorial, when I came in here as a competitor, right, it's pretty vertical. The fans are on top of you. I know what they used to say to me before I was a head coach, so hopefully that'll improve. But like I go back to, the first time I went to the University of Iowa as a coach, right? And, I graduated from there. I thought they're going to treat me pretty good, but obviously they had a lot to say to me. Like I think the part that you really just got to always play to is the game is played between the white lines, right? When you step across the field, everybody has the same dimensions. The field is the exact same length, width, and the points are scored in the exact same way. But to create a home field advantage means that you got to have a crowd that supports you to do that. So we got to give faith to our fans to be here. And then once they're in the crowd, we got to give them a reason to be loud. That's going to be my driving force, if anything.
Coach, one last thing. How eager are you to go over to State Farm Center and see the basketball game, which you haven't been able to do yet?
Yeah, I was able to go in there for a game early. I said there was no fans, but
Right.
because of COVID, they wanted me out of there. I did my interview and got out. But one of the great relationships that I've been able to build since I've been here, Coach Underwood reached out to me during the middle of his season when I was beginning to talk to Josh. We had some common friends that connected us, and Brad had a big-time in-state prospect on campus that he brought through with me. We were able to talk with him, like we share recruiting. We had a recruiting breakfast that I was able to take our entire crew on the floor of State Farm. That was my idea. We needed a big environment. We needed a big venue because of COVID that had great spacing. And I just said, literally, I was sitting in a meeting. I said, we ever thought about State Farm? Everybody looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I'm like, well, let's try this out. And it was a great part of our recruiting weekend. So the more we can partner together, and I can't tell you, I remember Josh and I were driving outside of State Farm the night before or the day of one of the big games at the end of the year. And Josh just said, man, it's just a shame that this year was a COVID year because this place would have been rocking. And yeah, it all, for me, right, we're not a football school, we're not a basketball school, we're not a softball school or a baseball school. We're the University of Illinois. I've enjoyed my relationships with Mike Small, Dan Hartlib, all the coaches. We walked out on the field the other day and women's soccer was out there. Like, it's a fun time to be here. The culture Josh has created, and I think we're all in it together.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Brett. I just have 2 quick kind of logistic questions. One, I didn't see it in the press release, but I'm just curious, we've seen at stadiums, everything from like free hot dogs to better seating to even getting vaccinated at stadiums. Are there any incentives that you know of or are in the works for, this reopening, and you get some perk if you show that, or is that not in the plans?
Yeah, I do know there's obviously a comprehensive plan, but I am not privy to that conversation. They kind of get released. There's certain things that I get involved in, and as a head coach, obviously ticket sales are at the premium of what I for, but I know Josh and his staff have a pretty comprehensive plan that they're kind of rolling out. Today was the first obviously announcement of the full capacity. So now they have in play a lot of things coming at them, and I can't tell you if it's a free hot dog or a free bratwurst or a free hamburger, but it's I'm sure been thought out and put in place.
Any of those sound good. The other is just to follow up on Kendrick's question. It sounds like you have a lot of things in place to continue to prevent players from getting COVID and, obviously like getting vaccinated. But is there anything from the Big Ten of what does happen then? If, is it going to be the same as last year with sitting out or, a certain number, or is that just in wait and see mode?
Yeah, so obviously I just joined in December, so
Yeah.
I can't take privy to what happened in the past. So the standards and the things in place have changed dramatically since January to where we are today. We have a phone call, kind of a standing phone call as Big Ten coaches at the end of every month where we talk with the commissioner and we get informed of things happening there. Jeremy Bush, our trainer, as well as several people on campus, kind of keep us in the mix. I know they are going to inform us when we start fall camp of new protocols for the season. Right now, they're kind of in the same mode that we had during the spring, but also it's modified greatly since the end of spring ball. If anything does happen, the protocols to get back into it. So it is a constant evolution. Again, as smart as I may sound at times, I didn't sleep at Holiday Inn last night, and I'm not a doctor. So I just kind of follow the emails that I get and tell them to do what I've been told.
All right, gotcha. Thanks.
Yep. All good.
Thanks, Brett.
See you guys
So-
before next Thursday. I'll see you then.
Thanks for your time.
You got any picks for the 40 times?
We'll make sure that it's wind aided. We'll put the fans behind you.
Lauren gets a seat in the front row.
I'm kind of just looking forward to the stretch.
Thanks, Coach.
Later.